This presentation will explain the process of participatory vendor selection and provide an example of the methodology used in selecting a particular electronic health record system. Participatory vendor selection occurs when various individuals in an organization determine which vendor's product will be the best to meet their collective preferences. The overall goal in this process is for these individuals to achieve consensus through a selection decision. Here, we have outlined a 7-step process in order to select a vendor. First, we must invite the various experts to participate in the decision-making process. Second, we conduct one-on-one interviews in order to determine preferences of the item being analyzed. Third, experts and facilitators convene in order to revise preferences and achieve consensus. Fourth, the group creates a scoring procedure based on these preferences. Fifth, the group discusses remaining differences and compromises further. In step 6, vendor performance is scored and evaluated for each vendor. In step 7, the facilitator documents the information and distributes it to the appropriate individuals in an organization. After conducting the one-on-one interview, the responses about the electronic health record system are recorded. This chart indicates the preferences of the expert who gave a weight of 0.7 to cost, 0.2 to ease of use, and 0.1 to compatibility. This particular expert was a hospital administrator who had a strong concern for the initial cost of implementation of the electronic health record system and therefore gave cost a large weighted value. The second expert interview asked a hospital physician to determine his preferences of the different attributes of the electronic health record system. This individual gave a weight of 0.6 to ease of use, 0.2 to cost, and 0.2 to compatibility. Clearly, the functionality and practicality. After the group discussion, a preliminary chart can be constructed showing the preferences of each expert in order to determine the overall preference of a vendor system. The 3 different vendors each have a program that varies a bit in ease of use, cost, and compatibility. After the experts have provided their weighted preferences to the various attributes, we can begin to determine the overall consensus. Ease of use and cost both had a weight of 0.4, while compatibility had a weighted value of 0.2. In order to determine consensus and select a vendor, we must compare the preferences of each expert to the various vendors. This is achieved by calculating the weighted sum of each of the ratings as shown. If we look at vendor A, for example, we see that his weight of 0.4 for ease of use is multiplied by the rating of 80. This is done for the remaining attributes of cost and compatibility and added together to get a final value of 52. The same calculation is done for vendors B and C as well. After comparing the vendors' weighted scores, vendor B had the highest value with a number of 60 and is therefore recommended for selection. Vendor selection can be time-consuming, costly, and still leave the organization confused on which vendor's product to select. Yet, when done through the 7-step process outlined in this presentation, it can be very beneficial to the organization by creating communication between various stakeholders in the organization and allowing that information to be gathered, analyzed, and distributed. After gathering the relevant information, we can quantify the preferences numerically. This allows us to calculate collective preferences to help in the decision-making process. Lastly, conducting one-on-one interviews allows for the experts to share relevant information to the facilitators in the overall process. The take-home message here is that the process of participatory vendor selection is a useful tool in decision-making.